Hi, friends. This is Miss Collins. I'm sorry that we do not have our live session today, but Miss Williams, Miss Lawrence, and I are busy packing up the classrooms for the end of the year and gathering all of you stuff. So today we are going to be doing our lesson virtually. It's going to be in a similar format as to the follow-up that you've done in previous days. And so we'll go ahead and get started. Today we have two objectives. The first is to read, to identify and annotate key events. And then we're going to use these key events to summarize the story. And we're reading a pretty cool story today. It's another folk tale, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. So we're going to be reading a story called The Pagoda on the Hill of the Imperial Spring. And as always, when we're reading a fiction text, we're going to want to pay attention to the key events. Those key events are what's going to help us retell and eventually summarize the story. And then later on, those key events might even help us determine the theme or bigger ideas about the story. So you're going to want to access the text either by downloading that PDF that is included or by logging on to Benchmark Universe. You'll notice that on your text, I have put some sticky notes as places to guide you to stop, pause, and think about what are some key events that have happened. We're going to go ahead and start reading, and as I'm reading, I'm going to fill out my during reading graphic organizer. So as I'm starting, I'm going to think about what is the main problem of the story and what caused this problem to occur. The Pagoda on the Hill of the Imperial Springs, an excerpt from Myths and Legends of China. The following legend tells how Peking was developed in the 14th and 15th centuries under the Ming Dynasty. In Chinese culture, dragons are often associated with water, specifically as a force that controls rain. So if I was unsure about
Peking
and what that means, I can see it says the old name for Beijing, a main city of China. So this story is going to tell me how Peking or Beijing, a main city in China, was developed. A drought and its cause. While everything was thus tranquil in the new city of Peking, a sudden and untoward event occurred that spread dismay and consternation on all sides. One day, when the Prince of Yan, who is he? Well, it says here he was also known as the Prince of Yan or Zudi, the Yongle Emperor. So he's a pretty important dude. One day, when the Prince of Yan went into the hall of audience, one of his ministers reported that the wells are thirsty and the rivers dried up. There was no water, and the people were all in greatest alarm. The prince at once called his counselors together to devise some means of remedying this disaster and causing the water to return to the wells and springs. However, no one could suggest a suitable plan. No one knew how to solve this horrible problem. So I'm going to think to myself, what is the main problem that's going on in this story? So I'm going to look back. I'm going to get my highlighting tool ready. So I see that there was no water and people were freaking out. There was no water in any of the rivers. So I'm going to put that as my main problem. There was no water. I'm going to make this a little bigger. There was no water for the people. Now I'm listening for, what might have caused all this water to dry up? It is necessary to explain the cause of the scarcity of water. There was a dragon's cave outside the east gate of the city. The place was called Thunderclap Mouth. Now, very few people went there, and none had spoken of the dragon, as the dragon had not been seen for myriads of years. So I'm hearing that there wasn't any water, And now they're talking about this dragon. In the introduction to this story, it told me how dragons are often associated or connected with water, specifically as a force that controls rain. Hmm, that's making me wonder. I wonder if the dragon did something that took away all the water. Still, it was well known that he lived there. Everyone believed the cave was the home of the dragon and that the dragon was somehow responsible for the drought. What could have made the dragon angry? At last, the answer was revealed. In digging out the earth to build a wall for the new city, some workmen had broken into the dragon's cave. This thought little of consequences that would result. The workers simply carried on and built the wall. So already I'm hearing that the reason why the dragon was angry is because workers had broken into his cave and had just started building. That'd be like if someone just walked into your house and just started building around it. So the reason why there's no water is the dragon controls the water and he is angry at the people because workmen broke into his cave, or I'll put his home. I would be kind of angry too. So now I have my main problem that there was no water, and the cause of the problem has something to do with this dragon and how he's really angry at the people. As I continue to read, I'm going to be looking for key events. And I'm going to put my paragraph number here. Now, notice we're not reading the entire story. Today, we're only reading paragraphs 1 through 9. So go ahead and continue reading with me as I look for one of our first key events. The dragon was exceedingly angry. He became determined to shift his abode. But the she-dragon said, so his wife, "We have lived here thousands of years, and shall we suffer the Prince of Yen to drive us forth thus? If we do go, we will collect all the water and place it into our yin-yang baskets. And at midnight, we will appear in a dream to the prince. In the dream, we will request permission to retire. If he gives us permission to do so and allows us to take our baskets of water with us, he will fall into our trap." Here the she-dragon smiled mercilessly, then continued, "For we shall take the water with his own consent. That will be our revenge. The people will have no water, and without water they will perish. Water is the one thing all humans need." So I've already heard that here the dragon's wife wanted to get revenge on the Prince of Yen. And so she decided to appear in a dream, and that she will ask the prince for permission to take all the water in his dream. And then that way, it's his own fault that his people don't have any water. So my first key event would be in paragraph 5. I'm going to say the she-dragon made a plan to trick the prince into giving away all the water. So what you're going to do now, friends, is you're going to continue to read the story. And you'll notice that I put more sticky notes here of where to stop and think about a key event. You're only reading up to paragraph 9. If you want to keep reading because you are so hooked in this story, you definitely can. But you only need to fill out the graphic organizer until paragraph 9. So you'll notice there are 1, 2, 3 more sticky notes, 3 more stopping points, and there are 4 more places for you to write a key event. But if you just did the 3, that's fine as well. So now, as always, now that we've figured out and filled out our graphic organizer for during reading, we're going to use this graphic organizer along with our text to help us with our after reading written response. And this is something that we've done many, many, many times. So now I'm going to open up the after reading summary written response. You'll notice it looks so similar to what we've done before. It says, use the text and your graphic organizer to summarize paragraphs 1 through 9 of The Pagoda on the Hill of the Imperial Springs. Make sure to use transition words and phrases to improve the clarity of your writing. So I have the main problem in this story is I've given you something to start with, but as always, you can use your own. So from our reading, what we've read so far, in my graphic organizer, I wrote the main problem is that there was no water. Now, where were they? I need to look back at that key detail. What village were they in? No, oh, in the new city of Peking. In the city of Peking. This problem was caused by the dragon who controlled all of the water being very angry at the people. First of all, so now I'm going to think about what was, actually I'm just going to say first. I'm going to say, to begin, it started when, and then what was my first key event? The she-dragon made a plan to trick the prince into giving away all of the water. So now you're going to continue reading to tell me what are some other key events that happened in order to summarize just paragraphs 1 through 9 of this story. Thank you, friends, so much for your attention and focus during this digital lesson. I can't wait to read what you wrote and to see you back in our live session on Tuesday. Thank you so much, friends. I hope you have a great rest of your day.